Welcome students and other participants from different colleges, from industries and from other research institutes to the second session of live session on farm machinery. Well, you must have gone through all the different lectures which we had delivered in the 12 weeks. You must have seen that we have covered not necessarily a very you can say the classical way of finding out which is there in the different books, for example, starting from tillage to the harvesting and all that. But we have tried to put it in such a way that the power source is also taken care of, and the implementation of the power source with respect to the implements which are connected, how they are designed and what are their relevance, what are the intricacies of these have been taken care of and has been shown. This has also been shown with respect to the advances that are going on in different places in the world, including that at IIT Kharagpur. So, we have also given some idea about that, what are the new things that we are doing at IIT Kharagpur, and what are the prospective requirements for the future in farm machinery. Because we know that the situation which is today is going to change drastically. At present, we know that about 50% of the people are now there in labor force, and this force also male female ratio is changing fast. We know that more of female are getting into the process, and while male are shifting to other locations and other jobs which are there for them. And this will definitely require that we have to use lot of automation and lot of digital technology into solving problems of agricultural operations and agricultural production system as such. You must have gone through the harvesting session which I had delivered earlier. You must have gone through the threshing part of the different equipment which are there. We do say that the initial thing which entered into agriculture as such and which was accepted all over the country to start with was the power tiller, which was a smaller power source. Although simultaneously at that same time we had tractors introduced in the northern part of this country, particularly UP, Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, these areas where people started using. I remember in 60s also in my village in Balia district, you can see that we had some of the people who had owned tractors. And in fact, at that time also there was a concept of custom hiring, and I can tell you that that was never heard of. But then what they used to do is, he used to say that okay, on just on the request basis without any cost, the owner, who used to be virtually a landlord and who had lot of area, and the people who were working with them, they had a small piece of land. So, he used to say that okay, you can also cultivate with the tractor. So, that sort of this system I had seen in, I am talking of 1960s or so, the tractor in the interior part of district of Balia, which is in Uttar Pradesh. So, as such, if we say that the tractor entered here a long back, started from the education started from you can say that Allahabad, and then at IIT Kharagpur we had 1952 where agriculture engineering started. So, as such the implementation slowly entered into, and we used to follow the similar books of what we have, the 3-author book of and then the books written by our people who are there in the country, Professor T.P. Ojha, whose books might have been followed by many, and Ojha and Michael on farm machinery and soil water like that. So, we have come a long way from that time, and now things are changing fast, where we are talking of drones, we are talking of microcontrollers, we are talking of sensors, we are talking of utilization, say image processing and things like that, and which are being introduced all over the world, and the same thing is going on in this country as well. So, the course which was designed here was meant for you to give what is the status at present and what is the next thing which is going to happen and what is the future going towards, and that is why the course was particularly meant for all stakeholders, if I say. That means the students at the undergraduate level, the students at the postgraduate level, and then scientists working in the different organizations as well as the engineers who are working in tractor companies, machinery companies, who not necessarily are agricultural engineers. So, for them we had tried to give this course in the different modules in the last 12 weeks. The first session we had answered a lot of questions, and many of questions could not be answered due to paucity of time. So, I would like to answer if you have any questions today, and I know that you must be preparing, because the examination is on 28th of this month, and which is just 4 or 5 days away. Today is 23rd. So, while wishing you all the best in the examination, well, I am ready for the questions or any clarifications that you have for the lectures that we have delivered. We would like to answer that. Well, there is a very interesting question which actually does not relate to the farm machinery course which we have delivered, but this question some of my friends have asked, what is the next NPTEL course? In fact, as such, if you see this NPTEL system which was started by the MHRD had variety of courses, and not necessarily only that if you are an agriculture engineer, you cannot take the courses which are being offered wherein you want to know advanced courses. For example, if you want to know something related to artificial intelligence, something related to Internet of Things, and something related to microcontrollers, or something related to image processing. So, these courses are also offered, and since this is a course on you can read and learn, and then you can supplement through this. So, I think there are several courses, but if you are asking generally what course I am going to offer, well, at this present I cannot say anything what course is there in my mind to be offered, but then there are other courses which are already offered and which will be offered by other department, which will be also beneficial to agriculture engineers, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, or chemical engineers. Why I say this mechanical, civil and chemical is that you remember that agriculture engineering in fact has 3 major verticals. One is farm machinery and power, the other is land and water resources engineering, and the third is food process engineering. So, if you talk of these 3 these 3 verticals are in fact in line with what is being taught in mechanical engineering, not necessarily exactly what is taught totally in mechanical engineering, but yes, it has its roots from mechanical engineering, because we are talking of the engines, we are talking of the transmission, we are talking of the other software which are used, like other softwares which are we using for finite element methods and all that. Then the engineering drawing which we are teaching, which is also required for us, and so the mechanical engineering related strength of materials we are taught and things like that. When we go to the water resources, when we are talking of land and water resources, we are talking of what are the structures which are made, what is the design of canals, what is the design of chutes, and what is the design of spillways, what is the design of the irrigation structures, etc., which has a lot of relevance with what civil engineers been doing. And in fact, these engineers have come from their initial military engineering. So, I would say this has the relevance or its roots in civil engineering, water resources and all that. Now, when we are talking of food process engineering, it has relevance in chemical engineering, because we are talking of heat and mass transfer, we are talking of food processing, we are talking of the different operations in food processing. So, it has its roots in chemical engineering. So, as such, there are some certain other courses. If as an agricultural engineer you want to learn more, if you are a food process person, if you are a farm machinery person, you can take some of the courses which are being offered by mechanical engineering in the NPTEL course. For example, they are talking of robots. We have also introduced robots, and you might have seen in some of my lecture that we are talking of robots, we are talking of image processing, we are talking of drones as well. So, these things are being taught in mechanical engineering, and some NPTEL courses are also offered and may be offered in future as well. So, you can think of these and learn these courses for civil engineering, which will help you, those who are interested in soil and water, and those who are interested in food processing, because if you are undergraduate students, you have all these opportunities, and I would say that you must take and seize these opportunities given by the Government of India, MHRD, through this NPTEL program. I would say like this. Thank you. Well, I know that all of you must be very worried as to what will be a course or a examination which an IIT professor is going to take for you. I think you should be very normal, and it is just like any other location where you might have been studying or might have taken a course. What we generally do is we try to see that the student must use his grey matter what he has in application of the principles that he has learned. Now, there is a question here. I will just read out the question for the benefit of others. Sir, please discuss the effect of differential lock on power, torque and spatial during straight line and right turning of a tractor. Well, I think this we have not talked of as such. We have not talked of, isn't it? Because this I have been teaching in tractor and power units. There is a course at the 4th year level, and which we have a separate course for that. But then I can tell you that, well, differential, what is the effect of differential lock? In fact, if you see that we have the differential lock's job is, supposing the tractor is there on the field, and one of these say you can say the wheels comes under very soft ground, and then it starts spinning faster and it's not moving ahead. So there the differential lock which is there in the tractor can be applied, and once you apply the differential lock, the two sides of the tractor of the rear axle, they become one, and then it you can say that both power and torque are divided, and the whole thing is shifted and the tractor moves out of it. So that's the effect of this. But if you want more details and all that, this is the course which we teach in tractor and power unit system. And for at this present, I can only say that for this answer, I will say that yes, differential lock is very important, particularly for tractors, because the situation such happens in most of the time while operation is taking place in the field. While taking a turn, I think the differential lock, we are not using the differential lock. While taking a right turn or a left turn, we are not using the differential lock as such. Okay, torque and speed. And you know that while you are taking a turn, the inner wheel, if you are taking a right turn, the inner wheel moves at slower the speed than the outer wheel, roughly an area of about twice the speed that we get. So if you are thinking of a right turn, then the inner wheel which is there on your side will be operating at half the speed of the outer wheel. If you are taking a left turn, just the reverse will take place. And when you go straight forward, of course, the differential is of no use when you are talking of, because as such the meaning of differential means the different speed we are achieving, and yes, which we are achieving while taking a turn, not while going straight forward. This is what I can tell you. Thank you. Well, there is a question here, why suspension system is not given in a thresher? Well, if you are talking of the suspension system, well, as such, see these machines which are designed mostly lighter machines, and I do not know why this question arises in your mind, because the thresher as such is stationary when the machine is working, and the level of vibration which come, generally the vibration will come when it is connected to a power source. Now, we do not assume that the vibration level takes place to that extent, but actually the vibration is transmitted because of the tractor, and once the tractor is also connected to the through the PTO to the thresher, because the tractor is stationary, I do not think that the vibration which is getting transmitted to the thresher is to the extent that you need, because while threshing is going on, nobody is seated on the in the thresher. The vibrations are there, but nobody is seated on the thresher. The problem of suspension comes when the vibration is to be reduced, and particularly this suspension system we are talking with respect to tractor operator, because the tractor operator will get this vibration transmitted from the tractor to his body, and that affects his whole system, even the stomach and heart and whole body system. And that is why we do not think of suspension in any other place except the tractor seat where we are talking of. But in thresher, I do not know why this question arises in your mind, but if there are, maybe that where you have seen this thresher vibrating, possibly the engine, the block on which the engine is fitted, possibly you have to look into that and see that there is a proper fixation of those paddings which are given for the engine. Otherwise, the vibration will not go to the thresher as such. If you are talking of big threshers which are tractor on the flow through threshers of paddy, maybe where whole paddy is given, I have not seen that much of vibration, because as such it is on wheels and then stand, and it remains stationary. Moreover, there is nobody which is on the track on the thresher. So, the question of suspension does not arise here, and that is why there should not be any suspension on a thresher. If you are talking of a motorized thresher, if you are talking of a tractor drawn thresher. Thank you. Questions related to tractor and their power units, I think we should limit to friends, we should limit the questions to farm machinery. Actually, we have connected the tractor because tractor is the farm power source, and that is why I have said that without the power source we cannot talk of the machines, and that is why I included in that. But as such I have not discussed about the different systems of tractor. So, I would expect you to have questions related to farm machinery, which we have talked of and discussed at length in various lectures that we have given. There are many ways where you can put questions. I do not know how much you have understood about the high level things which we have talked of. We have talked of sensors, we have talked of strain gauges, we have talked of measurement of slip, we have talked of measurement of torque, we have talked of measurement of draft, many things that we have talked of. You can talk about that. We have also talked of how we are using drones. We have made an attempt in that. But what is important for you, if you are an undergraduate student, it is important to you to understand the machinery part of it and how the power source is connected. We have also talked of small machines, which are connected on, which are you can say the self-propelled machines. So, try to understand these, because anyway the power source and these are connected. So, how the power is transmitted, what are the mechanisms involved in this, I think that will be better for you as undergraduate students. If you are not a chemical agriculture engineer, then mechanical engineer, then you should also concentrate on this part of machine, because as such you know what is a power source, that is engine, you know, and how it is connected to the machine and what is performance, etc. you should be interested in. If you are a scientist, you should be interested in what is the area of research in these machines, what new machines could be brought off and things like that. So, I think these should be the questions related to farm machinery. We will prefer that. Maybe that we will take up such questions at some later stage in course of such NPTEL courses in future. Thank you. Yeah, it is a question which in fact I was expecting that all the participants who are there in live session, and in fact those who are not in live session, all will be interested to have what would be the examination pattern. Well, I tell you that examination pattern is not going to be something which is which you are not aware of. As such, you know how examinations, you must have certain questions where we ask you to solve a problem, then some questions where we will ask you to write certain answers for certain subjective answers of some questions which we ask you, because it is essential that we would like to judge you from all counts. For example, when we are talking of say for example, we are talking of what is tilt angle. So, you should be able to explain what is tilt angle. If you are talking of what is the speed of operation when a tractor is, what is the fuel consumption if a tractor is operating at certain speed and covering certain distance and all that. So, you should be able to do that. When we are talking of a seed drill operating in the field, what is its details and how much is the area coverage, what is the seed dropping and things like that, and safety devices, etc. Definitely we would like you to have all these details. The patterns will be, in fact, if I tell you some details of what question paper is, will be or should be in fact, that see we have talked of you know that 25% of the weightage will be given from the assignments which are given to you, and rest 75% comes from there. So, I am sure the assignments you have done well, and if you have not done well, I think you should go back to revisit those assignments, see the solutions. We will definitely have something on a similar line of what was there in the assignments. Then some of the questions will be objective type, where you will have to answer maybe short questions. We do not believe in writing essays, and then there could be some questions where numericals, where you would like to apply your mind and answer. And I do not think these numericals will be totally unknown to you, because you have already gone through numericals in each chapter that we have dealt with. So, you are I am sure you will be in a position to answer that, and we would like that you should be brief and to the point. There is no, if things are asked that okay, you write maybe write in short, what do you know about the moldboard plow and what do you know about inversion, say things like that. You must answer to the point, that where inversion takes place and what is the energy consumed in this and in which equipment it takes place. So, only 2, 3, 4 sentences like this. You should limit to place. If there is a limit about the wording, supposing there could be a limit about the wordings, that you should have answer in a short place, or if the place is given, you should try to write brief and to the point answers within that period. But it will definitely have some on the lines of what you had in the assignment, some in the lines of objective, subjective questions, and some numericals. So, this is what will be the question thing, I think, and you should follow your instincts and should not sit on a question. If you cannot answer, you proceed to the next question and all that. Otherwise, you will not do well, and you must do well for this, because this is a question certification which you will get from IIT and of course, MHRD. So, those who are not agriculture engineer, for them it is very valuable. Those who are working scientists, it will add to their biodata, and those who are undergraduates, it will also add to them, or postgraduates doing something else somewhere else, will definitely add to their CV and help them in future. Well, there is a question I will just read out for the knowledge of others. Sir, can you explain the important components in code for designing the software in Visual Basic for image processing and microcontrollers? Well, I would say that these things we would not like to discuss these things here, that what you explain the important components in code for designing. Now, you see what we when we write the code, when we are writing the Visual Basic programs, what do? Supposing you want to design the capacity of a thresher. Now, if you have to design the capacity of a thresher, you should know that what are the things which are required, the dimensions of the thresher, the throughput capacity that you are planning to have, the diameter of the thresher, the speed at which you will have, and what variations you will have, what sort of crops you will have, whether you will have a multi-crop or a single crop. So, when you are thinking of these components and the parameters, you have to take these, and the equation is written. Only thing, this has to be coded. It depends on whatever type of software you are trying to make Visual Basic. you will have to have the data. Say for example, if you are changing, say if you want to have a robust Visual Basic program where you want that if I change these values, what will happen to the program, what will happen to the design. Then you can have a galaxy of informations at one location, say for example about the clearance from input to output of a thresher. So, those clearances are there. You can put the designer can take one clearance and put into the whole program, and he will get a value of the diameter. If he takes if he wants to increase the speed, there should be different speeds which should be there in a file. So, these are some of the things which you need to contain, which you want to vary and see the design. So, when we are talking of these, we must we include this. Now, for image processing and microcontrollers, in fact, you have asked several questions into one. Image processing separately, because when you are talking of a particular image, what you want to have the features, what are its details of the images and how they need to be, what are the pixels that you have, how they have to be converted, because it is not straight away that an image you have taken and it can be done. So, the image has to be taken, it has several aspects which need to be followed, and then only you can, if you have seen some of the lectures, we have said that the real image is one, and after that we have gone to different images, and actually then we have talked of what is the requirement. So, when we are talking of the microcontroller, see, this is an area, lot of things are there in electronics, and if you read microcontrollers, you will understand about that. What we generally like to do is, what is the purpose that this microcontroller can do, what are the availability in the market, and what is my requirement. So, when we talk of this, we definitely think of what is my requirement and what is available in these processes, in these systems. Then there is another question. I think this is what I can say at this point of time. I would not like to elaborate all those details, because there are 3 questions asked into one, subbed into one. So, remember that microcontroller is a big chapter, image processing itself is a very big course. I have read myself image processing for about 6 months semester. There are courses available already online, you can go through that, even on microcontrollers. And then Visual Basic, any program, if you have to write the way you write, take the parameters as I explained earlier, you could take that and go ahead. Well, another question which has come is, what is the area of research in a thresher for future? Well, I would say that area of research for a thresher for future. Well, you know that threshers, we are talking of multi-crop threshers, we are talking of the damages which are taking place in the thresher. We would like to minimize these damages. We would like to have the system in such a way that we can accommodate any crop in a particular thresher, whether it is a cereal crop, pulses, or any crop we are thinking of, root crop, I do not know, some of the, you should have that arrangement. And then you have to think of how we can change the speed of operation, how we can sense if there is any overloading taking place, how we can think of cleaning of this, minimize the losses which are taking place, how we can regulate the flow of the air which is cleaning the dust and the chaff and the grain. So, there you can think of having a sensor operated blower and things like that. Many things are there which you can think. You have, if for in research in any area, you have to think of what are the things at present and what are the difficulties that we are facing. If you are facing certain difficulties, or we are thinking that the thresher efficiency is hardly about 70%, 80%, why can't we have a 100% or 95, 98% efficiency? Why can't? And if we are thinking what else can we do? Which way we can minimize the total requirement of the items which are there, which way we can change and have only one thresher and all these crops can be threshed. So, there are various areas you can think of. You can have a computerized thresher, you put on one side and then everything clean grain comes out like this. These are all futuristic things, and why not? You should think of all, everything you think of digital, everything controllers and things like that. Thank you. Well, there are other questions, friends. How can we get to know about researches done at IIT Kharagpur? Well, I think particularly in farm machinery that we have shown to you, more or less we have given you more or less given you everything that is going on at IIT Kharagpur, but then some of the things which we have not said is because some of the students are doing their PhD and their MTechs. So, we would not like to disclose everything because today's day we are talking of the IPR, and in this age even what I say has a value. So, if the idea which we are doing or the things which we are doing at IIT Kharagpur, we can only give an idea of what we are doing, but exactly we may not be in a position to tell you, although we have definitely disclosed some of the things to you, some of the trends we have disclosed to you, that we are working on drones, we are working on robotics, we are working on solar energy, we are working on controllers and embedded systems. These are some of the things which are general and which we are doing. So, that we are doing, but what exactly we are doing maybe that we would not like to disclose like this until unless they are published, and students are trying to publish. So, if they are published, you will be able to know, because we do not keep here, we like to publish. So, whatever is there you will find in terms of publications. Can you explain the blade pattern on a rotor shaft of a rotavator? I do not understand. Can you explain the blade pattern on a rotor shaft of a rotavator? Well, I think we have dealt with this in detail when we are talking of the bite and the different design of the rotavator blades and the size of the blades and the total power taken by the rotavator. We have talked of the whole thing. When if you go to the lecture which was there on design of a rotavator, you will get all the details which are given here. In fact, in just off way, it cannot be said that what should be the design. It depends on various aspects of what is the size of it and how much is the volume, what tractor is connected to it and all that. So, many things are connected. I would refer and I would suggest that you should see the lecture in which I have talked of the design of a rotavator in detail. You will get everything in detail there. Thank you. Well, what is important to you is that you should be thinking something different. What we have given in these 12 weeks is a new way of looking at the farm machinery industry in the whole world as such. You will see that bigger machines are available in the world, but in the other developing countries or in the countries like us, we would say that not fully developed, but at the same time we are not underdeveloped as well. So, I would say that we have everything of we are talking of things which are going to moon, and we are talking of things which are there on bullock cart. We have designs of bullock carts also. We have made modifications in that. We are talking of drones, we are designing drones, we are talking of microcontrollers. We are developing all these things, and then we are in tune with what is going on all over the world. What is important from a young engineer's point of view, for example, if you are an undergraduate or a postgraduate or a researcher, you should think of innovations, you should think of things which can be made into a workable item. Let it be a small item, but workable item, and which costs less, because that will have more value. Remember that if you have an item which is cheaper, it will be easier to sell that item to a large number of people than you have a very big unit. And so much so in case of agriculture engineering as such, that the plots are small. So, they give us even a bigger challenge to agriculture engineers, that you should design machines which are beneficial for these small farmers, and as well as they are cheaper. So, think of innovative solutions, think of solutions which the farmer can even make in the village itself. So, I would suggest that you should be talking of these such things. Now, I have a question here. How can we reduce the price of present agricultural machinery, because most of the machines are still not available to small farms. For your engineers, give some for young engineers, give some suggestions. Well, that is what I, in fact, without knowing this question, I was answering this question itself, that you should think of the innovations which are very relevant to the farmers. And for that, I would say that you revisit the villages, go sit with the farmer. In fact, when I talk to the farmers, I say that they are better engineers, they judge us better. So, if you have that attitude, sit with them, you will get the solutions. if you go to the villages, you will find that they have done their own innovations, and which they call, and which we call in our urban language as jugaad, and they have done it, and knowing unknowingly that yes, they have done some innovation. So, I think you should think of small machines, you should think of machines which can be manufactured even in the villages, and take the help of the farmers, I would say. Do not think that you will get the answers in the books. No book will give you the answer, but you have the answer yourself. The farmer will be in a position to tell you what problem he has. For example, a farmer told us that we are having problem while we are transporting the fishes. So, we are working on that. A farmer told that we are having problem in distribution of the fish feed. So, we are working on design of such a fish feed which is easier and which can be fed to the small ponds as well. So, we are thinking of that. We are thinking of economizing on these machines. Even today, we are thinking of, say, I do not know if you have seen WhatsApp, people are thinking of threshing this groundnut using a motorcycle. So, you stop the motorcycle and start it, and then put it on stand and let the rear wheel rotate, and you can put the bunches, and then the whole pods are removed. So, why can't you think of that doing with a cycle, or why can't you think of taking this clue and make a small machine which can be done for removing the pods as well as threshing of the pods at the same time. So, you can think of some small things. See, if you are thinking of innovation, you will have to sit with the farmer, you will have to visit the villages, you will have to see the problems the farmers are facing. If you think that an engineer or a professor will tell you what is required with the farmers, I think that is not the way to go about it. You will not get your answer. Thank you. What are the different, yes, another question, what are the different ways of improving the scouring of soil in moldboard plough? Well, this is a question, somebody may be thinking of plating of the moldboard of the plough. Well, there are various coatings you will have to, because the scouring will take place if you are talking of a simple mild distilled surface. So, you will have to think of some coating. There are various types of coatings are available. I may not be in a position to tell you now, and I should not tell also like this, because this is also a question of IPR. So, if somebody is interested to do that, we can do this, but I would say that yes, some sort of coating is possible. People have tried coatings in various locations, and to stop this scouring in different parts of the engine. So, why can't you do this for moldboard ploughs also? Have the material which will stick to it if you have a particular base of the moldboard. So, it is possible, but I will not like to answer this directly, giving you a answer which requires a lot of IPR. I would like to answer this if separately somebody asked, maybe, but then this requires cost, there is a cost for this. Thank you. Please remember that we would like to answer you certain things which we have taught you. We will answer certain things which are not very much off the course that we have talked and the lectures that we had done. But some of the things, for example, the last one, see, this requires a lot of coatings are going on for reducing the scouring. Now, people are doing research, people have done research, people are changing the material. So, this will require inside thinking into it. And so, if I say a value of coating of a particular material, I would not be doing justice to people who are doing this work. So, but yes, I would say that there are coatings which are available, and the material which can take this coating and then reduce are definitely there. What I would say that you should think of innovation. Please think of innovation. Please think that to every problem there is a solution, and you have to be bold enough to take up a entrepreneurship, or you think of designing something. And it is possible if you 2-3 of your agriculture engineers or mechanical engineers or a group of interdisciplinary people, a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, electronics engineer and agriculture engineer come together and think of designing something for small farms, which will have abundance, in fact, which will be sold in lakhs and lakhs, because you know that in this country about 80% of the farms are small farms. So, it will be easier for you to sell those, and then you can have innovations. At the same time, you can create more jobs. Instead of becoming seeking for jobs, you will be delivering jobs, you will be giving jobs to people, and then creating wealth out of your knowledge within this country. We expect that you should be answering all the questions in the examination, which is scheduled on the morning of 28th and the afternoon of 28th. And the preparation which you should be doing is, you must go through all the lectures again and again. We will not deviate much, but definitely those who want to score well, for them we will have some of these which will require really to stretch their mind and then get the answers for that. And we are looking forward for some people. In fact, I will tell you that there is some sort of a reward for the first 2 or 3 persons who will get in this particular course, and they can have internship at IIT Kharagpur during this December. So, remember that if you do well and you are between the top 2 or top 3, then there is a possibility that you can have a paid internship at IIT Kharagpur with me in this December. So, keep this in mind and try to do well, and take this opportunity to be at IIT Kharagpur, learn what we are doing, and learn something better, and get this opportunity which will be paid and which will add value to your future. Thank you. Well, there is a question here, does animal drawn implements hold scope in future? Well, why not? I would say that this, because see, animal is also a power source. We cannot think that the animal should be totally discarded. We cannot and we should not, because there are also these animals which have been used in the past. In fact, because we do not have the ingenuity and the design to use their knowledge, we are thinking that let us get out of them. See, we should be able to use these animals. We are now at present we are talking of, when we are talking of seeding, when we are talking of field preparation, and maybe at the time of threshing. You can use this for other non-farming operations as well. Remember this, for sugar cane we are talking of, you can have these people, these animals used, sugar cane crushing. You can think of using them for, which has been used in the past. So, we can't think that they do not have these things, I mean their future. Definitely the implements can be used. The implement which are between the, say you want to have a capacity which is higher than that of a man, and which is capacity for a power for a small engine. Now, remember that a engine will cost you, a 10 horsepower engine will cost you about 25, 30,000, 50,000 even, depending upon what type of engine and what is the brand, etc. So, and the output which you are getting is not more than that which you are getting here. So, you can think of using a pair of animals and design these machines in such a way that they will be used. And we do have some of the implements which are drawn by animals. We should not discard the animals. Some of the animals are stronger animals. Maybe the eastern part where we are talking of, particularly in Bengal, they are small bullocks which are body weight is smaller, about 200 kg or so. For them we have designed a puddler, and that is being used by the farmers in the villages even today. We designed sometime in 90s for these blocks, and they are being used. So, for other areas, because the field preparation, particularly for paddy, I can tell you that still people are using their conventional these things. But if you can use a puddler which we have designed, or you can think of design a puddler, you can increase their capacity. They will be able to complete this in short period of time. Their output will be more. So, you can think of this. You can see even for interculture they used to be used. Now, it is your way of thinking. How should you take the design of the whole plot when you are talking of seeding, when you want that animal drawn equipment can be utilized. Why not? They can be utilized even for interculture operations, even for spraying operation they can be utilized, but then you will have to make way for their movement in the field, the way we are making way for movement of the tractor. When we are thinking of a power source to be operated in the field for different operations, why can't we think of animal? Only thing the distance, you may have to have one animal, you have to have two animals, and accordingly you have to space it, and it is possible. And people, we should not think of that, yeah, the animal should be totally extinct, and no, that is not the thing, because we do require them and we have our the other equipment, other uses which we have. So, I would say that yes, why not? Thank you. Well, I think we have discussed a lot, and maybe that many of you have asked certain questions, not very much questions which are actually of the lectures that we have delivered. There are certain relevant questions which have been asked. We are happy that you are curious to ask these questions. Everybody must be worried by this, because 5 days are there, those who are appearing. I wish them all the best, but I would say that please be brief and to the point, and spend enough time and go through the question paper properly and then try to answer. We hope to get the top 2 students, top 2 candidates who do well to have internship with me as the teacher in the month of December 2018. With this, I think I wish you all the best, and thank you very much. तो 6:45 तक ही था ना? इज इट? हाँ, तो हमने तो टाइम तो आपका 6:45 था, अभी तो 6:50 हो गया. तो आई डोंट माइंड. ऑन कर दीजिए, फिर अगर क्वेश्चन आता है तो ऑन करके रखिए.
ओके सर.
Well, we have friends, we have some more time. If you have some other questions, you can ask, and I will be in a position to help you. We know that some of the questions come at the last minute, and then I would like to answer. Last time I could not answer some of the questions. If you have anything, I would like to answer. And well, I will tell you to the people who are in industry to kindly think of well, this is a question which we should be not answering this, but then I will still answer some of the. Somebody is asking that could you please suggest topics for GATE? See, graduate aptitude test in engineering. This is a gate through which people are appearing for the MTech courses in IITs and other locations. Well, I can the topics definitely. The topics are, every topic is important here. You see, when you are talking of farm machinery as a discipline through which you will be appearing, or agriculture engineering as such, because agriculture engineering contains all the 3 aspects, as I told you, that it has all the 3 verticals of farm machinery, land and water resources, and food processing. So, there will be you should think that the equal weightage will be given to all these, the farm machinery, food processing, and soil and water engineering. And there you must have seen what is the type of questions which are asked in GATE. Mostly the questions which are asked, you will have to prepare and answer there itself. So, there will be questions and all. The topics, I would say that all the topics, when you are talking of farm machinery, you must know about every operation from the tillage, preparation of the field, to harvesting, threshing, transportation. You are talking of tractor, you must have knowledge about each system of the tractor. You must know about different equipment which are used in these. then you must, we do not, we do also teach in IIT Kharagpur ergonomics, which talks of the safety related to the machines, whether it is for tractor or with it for for implements. So, sometimes you may also think that there could be some questions on that. We think of the environment which is there on tractor, related environment, the different safety features which are there in tractor, safety feature which are there in the implements. So, every information which we also teach alternate energy sources, and there also like gobar gas and then other biodiesels, etc. We are also talking of this. And so, we do believe that you should also think of the these renewable energy sources which are there, the solar energy, the wind energy, you should think of that, biodiesel, gobar gas, and what are all these things, how they can be utilized. So, we talk of these, we talk of the machine design, we talk of the tractor design, we talk of energy, we talk of ergonomics, and we would like that you should be versed in everything. Now, it is up to you. This is the farm machinery portion. So, similarly, the food processing portion will be there, and then the soil water portion will be there. Now, I would suggest one thing, that if you are interested to do well, try to do well in one subject very well. If you are interested in farm machinery, try to see that you will score 90% in the farm machinery part of it or 99% farm machinery part of it. Maybe certain portion definitely you will be able to answer in the food processing and soil and water, because at the undergraduate level you can answer some of these questions. So, you should concentrate on one area 90% and see that you get all the questions answered in that portion, and then you should be able to venture to 25-30% in each other of them. So, you will be doing well if you try that way. This is just a suggestion for you to try and do well in GATE. Thank you. Well, there is a question here, some of my friends are asking, some numericals has not been discussed, please give opportunity in other ways. Opportunity in other ways, I do not understand what sort of opportunity you want, but some of the numericals have not been discussed. Well, I think the numericals which we have solved there, the details are given, and some of the numericals which have been given in assignments, if you have not been in a position to solve, we have given the solutions, and so you should be able to understand from the solutions. But if you have any queries related to that, we can definitely give that sort of opportunity, that you can send a mail to me or to the location, to the email which is given to you, and then I will be in a position, or my TAs, teaching assistants who have done a good job with me. So, I am sure that they will be able to answer, we will be able to answer you this numericals. So, I do not think you will have any problem as such, but then could be that those portions have not been taught in your location, and that is why you are not able to follow, because then in the theory which we have discussed through the slides, if you go through those the relevant theory part of the problem which you, or the numerical which you are thinking of, then maybe that answer you will get. If you can find out that in that particular PPT or the area which you have not understood, you can quote and just give me a mail or a relevant mail which is given to you for putting the questions. I think we will be able to answer that. Hopefully within this another 3-4 days time that you have. But then try to do well and try to take help of your teachers who are there and friends who have understood things better. I think that will help you in doing this numerical problems. And remember, these numerical problems actually they really give you better insight into any design. When you are thinking of any design, these problems, these numericals give you idea about what should be the size, what should be the dimension of a particular item, whether we are talking of capacity, whether we are talking of the size, we are talking of the diameter, we are talking of the speed. Now, these things help, and that is why numericals are better way of learning. when you learn the theory, if you talk of the numericals, I am sure that you will learn better in that. So, I would appreciate that you should do more and more numericals in this area. We have given few numericals in the last lecture. I think a few numericals we have discussed and given with the answers. So, I am sure if you have done that, you would be able to give, because quite a good number of these are given to you. So, please try to solve them, and if you have any questions, we can always answer. Maybe your teachers who are there, they will be able to answer. If you are a person in the industry, maybe you can write to me if you know my email and all, or you can write through the NPTEL email which is given to you. We will try to answer that. What is how you take this course? I would be happy that you give your critical view maybe after the everything is over, like the exam will be there, and after the exam, if there is an opportunity to have a session, maybe I would like that give a critical view of that, and we would like that such a course can be put into the form of a book, and then what sort of editing could be done. I would like to take your help and all that. So, I would request you to be ruthless, I would say. I will use this word and say whatever you think about this particular farm machinery course, which I have tried to give it to you. It will help me, I think, and in turn it will help larger population when we take up a similar course or a next edition of such a course, or we are thinking of another course in any other area, then that will help. Now, there is a small query. Is there any chance of recycling the exhaust gas and coming out from any agricultural machinery? Gas coming out from any agricultural machinery? Why not? Think of innovation. If you are thinking of the gas which is coming out to the extent that which comes out in case of superchargers in engines, see the energy which is there in the exhaust of the engine is a very high energy. If you really get that energy enclosed in coming out of an implement in machinery, agricultural machinery, why not? You can use that machinery for some operation, like we are using a turbine. So, in case of a turbocharger or in case of a supercharger, so why not use that? Heat energy is there, and there is a movement, there is a flow, kinetic energy. So, use that energy and try to rotate something. It is possible. Why not? It is a innovative way of thinking. You can use that, recycle that. Either recycle in the sense that you would like to use this energy for say not necessarily for only, you can filter that and then use the clean air, and you can use back the way you are using in case of our engines. You can use this for any other equipment. Why not? Think, but I would leave it to you to think that what sort of recycling you want to do. If you have any agriculture machinery where a lot of exhaust is coming out, I do not know which agriculture machinery you say that exhaust is coming out. In fact, the exhaust will come out of the engine which is connected to that agriculture machinery. In the agriculture machinery, only the exhaust of the engine which comes out. So, you please think into this, what sort of exhaust you are talking about. Are you talking the dust which is coming out at a certain speed? Are you thinking of the yes, dust or something which can be thrown off, and the energy of which can be utilized? If you are thinking that, please think what you can do. It is possible to use the kinetic energy which is stored in that. It is possible to have that. I think that well, I think wish you all the best, and hope that some of the top 2-3 persons will be interested to come for internship in December at IIT Kharagpur for a period of about 3 weeks or so. Thank you very much. Best of luck.